Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Yesterday, bit of a chaotic day. Anytime you hear the words NCAA investigation with Tennessee involved, obviously it's going to get a little bit chaotic. You're going to try to figure out exactly what is going on. Is there any concern? Is there anything that we should be worried about as the information starts to come out? And it starts with this idiot, Pat Ford over at SI.com, because he puts out conflicting information. This is the tweet that kind of started the whirlwind yesterday. He says, sources, I love it, sources. That means I can say anything I want to say and blame it on somebody else. That's what sources means. He says, less than a year after its last infractions case concluded, Tennessee is under NCAA investigation again. And why do I call Pat Ford an idiot? Why do I say that he's giving us conflicting information? Because he tweets out that Tennessee is under investigation. Then you get into the article and it says they are potentially under investigation. There was no letter of allegations. There was nothing official that had been filed. NCAA employees, representatives, whatever you want to call them, idiots, we can call them idiots as well, were on campus at the University of Tennessee. But this article comes out, all the message boards start to flare up. The DMs start to fly. Boogie, is there anything we should be concerned about? We're all trying to figure out what this is even about. What did Tennessee do? Should we be concerned? Then a little bit later in the afternoon, this comes out. Donde Plowman, Chancellor at Tennessee, drops the hammer, the absolute hammer on the NCAA, and basically says, we did no wrong. She talks about supporting the student athletes. She talks about their rights and their opportunities in the world of NIL. Then she puts the NCAA on blast and talks about how they have no rules and regulations. Then furthermore, she goes on to say, hey, you said in your testimony in court, this is directly fired at the NCAA president, you said in your testimony in court that you wanted to meet with schools. You wanted to meet with administrations. Donde Plowman, Danny White reached out to the NCAA, wanted to meet in person. He said no, but now here they come. Here they come looking for trouble with the University of Tennessee. Why? Because there's an alleged $8 million contract out there. The biggest contract in college football allegedly starts with Nico. Is that why? Are they trying to make an example out of Tennessee? Was there anything to be concerned about? Because there was a lot of buzz, a lot of speculation. Again, more information started to come out throughout the evening, and there was a lot of talk about a specific flight with one Nico. Is Tennessee at fault? Did they do anything wrong? Are we concerned? I see it floating around. Is Nico going to play in 2024? Everybody just take a breath and calm down. It's going to be just fine. Nico is going to play in 2024. We're going to get into it. We're going to break it down. We're going to take a look at what some of the experts had to say. But as always, do me a favor and smash that thumbs up just below this video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy, it helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, first time on the channel, welcome. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't talk at you. We don't pretend to be any of that stuff. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. So if you like what we do, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Got a fun one coming up tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Coach J versus Coach Rice. Again, if you're new to the channel, a couple of high school football coaches, they're going to break down some film on in-state talent in the class of 25. Coach Rice, got to pick an offensive player. Coach J, got to pick a defensive player. They're going to try to win you guys over in the chat. It's a competition. I cannot wait. I know what Coach J's got up his sleeve. We're going to see if it works out for him tonight. But be here at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So let's take a look at this article, because this kind of summarizes what we're talking about here, because this came out through the New York Times a little bit later in the evening last night. This is from Zach Reagan, A to Z Sports. Report says that Tennessee flew Nico on a private jet for a recruiting visit. Now, something you got to realize right out of the gate. There is a difference between Spire Sports Group and the University of Tennessee. Those are two completely different things, so keep that in mind as we go through this article. Says here, the New York Times reported on Tuesday that part of the new NCAA investigation into the Tennessee Vols NIL dealings center on a booster group allegedly flying Nico to Knoxville for a recruiting visit. This is directly from the article. Says here from the New York Times, the investigation is focused in part on the use of a private jet by a so-called donor collective. Well, donor collective? Could you possibly mean Spire Sports Group? The investigation is focused in part on the use of a private jet by a so-called donor collective to fly a high-profile recruit, now the school's starting quarterback, to campus. While the university was wooing him, having the booster group pay for the trip, by the quarterback Nico would be a violation of NCAA rules. The inquiry comes after the NCAA penalized Tennessee for different recruiting violations and signals the NCAA's growing concern about the scale and influence of the money being injected into college sports by donor collectors. So again, collectives. We're talking about Spire Sports Group here. We're talking about, a collective that raises money for NIL purposes. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Again, the University of Tennessee and Spire Sports Group are two completely different entities. They have, they do work together, but they are two completely different things. So here's the flight that's in question. Austin Price over at VolQuest put out, Nico signed on with Spire as a representation agreement, and he became a client. They signed him in February. So he was now basically an employee of Spire Sports Group. Guess when he took the trip to Knoxville that they are talking about? That would be in March. So there was no inducement. There was none of that stuff. Spire Sports Group signed him to a deal. Guess what? That deal didn't say anything about, allegedly, didn't say anything about, committing to the University of Tennessee or having to play for the University of Tennessee. That's not what it was about. Spire Sports Group signed Nico to a deal. They can fly their employee anywhere they want in the country. Anywhere they want in the country. Let's take a look at how they responded to it. This is another post that came out on Twitter from Tom Mars. He posted this on behalf of Spire Sports Group. This came out yesterday as well. Said in early 2022, independent of the University of Tennessee or anyone associated with its athletics program. That's the key there, boys. That's the key. Dang, they're good at their job. Spire Sports Group entered into a mutually beneficial contractual relationship with Nico Iamaleava that involved a limited assignment of his NIL rights, no matter which school he chose to attend. Again, number one collective in the country for a reason. Says such representation agreements have become increasingly common. The parties agreed that their contractual rights and obligations would be governed by California law. Why? Because Nico lived in California. Perfectly legal to pay high school kids at the time in California. It says freely allows prospective college athletes to enter into such agreements. Again, California law. The commercial reasonableness of the agreement between Spire and Nico was evidenced by a recitation that Spire anticipated Nico would eventually be drafted by an NFL team. Had nothing to do with college. This is all about the future. This is all about NFL. I mean, Spire Sports Group was ahead of the curve. They signed him as a high school senior to get ready for the NFL because they're smart. They know what they're doing. The agreement also specifically acknowledged the restrictions prohibiting the use of any school's or team's logo or insignia. It says the agreement required Spire to protect the value of Nico's NIL rights and specifically stated that nothing in the agreement constitutes any form of inducement for the athlete to enroll at any school and or join any athletic team. Completely up to Nico. Nothing in the contract said he had to come to Tennessee. This is about the NFL, boys. In short, the agreement was fully consistent with then existing NCAA NIL guidelines and had nothing to do with recruiting Nico to the University of Tennessee or any other school. Spire Sports and the Vol Club currently represent more than 100 college athletes and are proud to have helped them maximize their value and their legally protected name, image, and likeness. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe at one point, I don't know if this has changed. This is me shooting from the hip. I'm pretty sure Spire had some golfers, professional golfers. They represent more than just the University of Tennessee. So keep that in mind as you read that response from attorney Tom Mars, who obviously way above my pay grade, but that's their response. Well done. Bravo, man. Bravo. So you shut that down real quick. This is all about the flight. Guess what? That has been axed. That has been shut down. But what's important to note here, and this is something that Dondi Plowman pointed out in her response, this is something that I've seen other people talking about, is the rights of the student athlete and how I thought we were trying to protect them and give them the opportunity to use name, image, and likeness. Meanwhile, the NCAA keeps moving the goalposts. They keep changing the rules, and that's something that I've talked a lot about on this channel is you rolled this thing out. You rolled out NIL, and you weren't ready. You didn't have all the regulations in place. You didn't know what you were getting into, and now you've got a complete mess on your hands. One last thing I want you guys to see. Let's take a listen to what Josh Pate had to say about the whole situation and the NCAA as a whole. Let's take a listen. This is great.
Like that's what happened. What really happened is legal minds who are not only capable of matching wits, but more so capable of playing whack-a-mole with the NCAA got involved. And they realized, oh, we actually don't have a leg to stand on. We're kind of sort of screwing this kid. And even if
Talking here about a kid transferring from Kent State to UNC and the NCAA not granting him eligibility. It was 72 hours out, then 48 hours out, then 24 hours out. They still won't grant him eligibility. Finally, he has to sit out the first week, and then they come back and say, we should have probably let him play. He can go ahead and play now. How many times have we at Tennessee seen that happen? BY having to sit out for 2 games because of the circumstances with a college football program that got shut down that was completely out of his control. It's ridiculous. With Brew McCoy, waiting on Brew McCoy to get eligible. But that's what he's talking about here as he buries the NCAA. Let's hear more.
We do have nomenclature that we can hide behind. Is our entire purpose not to serve a student athlete? In other words, is our entire purpose not to help this kid find a way to get eligible if there is a way? So anyway, I want you to remember.
Are we trying to help kids, or are we trying to assert our dominance? Are we trying to flex our power? Are we trying to sit on our throne and say that we're in control?
That, because it was that night, it was that finally was my last straw. I don't know what yours is or if you've had yours yet, but that was my last straw. Some of you may say, it took you that long? Well, I held out hope, but there is no hope for this organization. They are a hopeless people. And we are as well as a college football public if we are continuing to depend on them for enforcement. In no merit-based world do these people have jobs. It's never the case in a merit-based world. Imagine for a second you work in construction.
This is perfect.
I've done this before.
Is perfect.
Imagine you work in construction and you show up to the job site one week and there's your schematic and there's the overall blueprint and here's lumber here and here's HVAC, and then the next Monday you show up, the plans have changed. And yet, what are we going to do? Well, we can't reverse what we already built, so I guess we're just going to kind of go by these plans now. Then you show up the next Monday, and you got a whole new set of HVAC instructions, and you got a new angle that they want the ceiling built at, and you have no choice but to keep going. You're working on a deadline, and
anybody work in corporate America? I'm having flashbacks. This is exactly what it is. You learn to do a job, and then you change the rules. So then I learned to do it that way, and then you change the rules again. So then I learned to do it that way, and then you change the rules back to where we started, and I'm on this endless cycle of never being able to do my job right. And that's exactly what Josh Pate's laying out here. The NCAA keeps changing the rules, and schools are scrambling, trying to figure out what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it.
And fast forward 6 months, the house is built, and then the inspector shows up and says, this house doesn't look right. I'm going to punish you. What would you do? Anyone in their right mind would say, well, you kind of put us in an impossible situation because the rules kept changing. That's what Donde Plowman's saying. Saying, you fools actually have the audacity to change the rules at the 11th hour of every day and then look at us and think we're supposed to enforce it. And by the way, it's not just like wind direction changing. Okay, that's as simple as south-southwest and north-northeast and the end. In this world, please understand, these are entire major organizations that you're trying to run. And so if you change guidelines today on January 30th, I have to then completely restructure my organization or my player personnel or my NIL or my recruiting department, and I'm hopefully building and then I'm hiring to build a structure to adhere to your guidelines, and that's a 6 to 12 month process, and then 8 months into it, you change the guidelines.
This is exactly what we are dealing with college football, with the NCAA, with not only NIL, but also the transfer portal. Every single month they change the rules. What's legal, what's not. We're laughing right now watching Alabama get burnt to the ground because of that 30-day window. Everybody else is shut down. Alabama's roster's just up and leaving. Who are they supposed to replace them with? The NCAA is full of idiots. And Josh Pate, the reason he's got the platform he's got is because he's way better at this than I am. Bringing up picture-perfect points, and it sums up exactly what Donde Plowman had to say. You're going to come back and try to penalize us for something that you changed the rules for after the fact. So that's the latest update on the flight from Nico. Should we be worried? I don't think so, but you guys can jump into the comments section and let me know your thoughts on all of the chaos going on right now. We'll continue to keep you updated if any other news breaks or any other allegations come out. We will keep you up to date right here on the Talkin VAWLS Network. Don't forget to join us live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about this. If you guys want to break it down and get into it a little bit before the film breakdown, we can do that. But it's up to you. This is your channel. This is your show. This is your platform. We appreciate the way you support it. Smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out the merchandise. All the links to that are in the description below. You want to support the channel, hit that join button. It's $1. $1 a month, you become a member of this channel. You financially support what we're trying to build. I say all the time, for the fans, by the fans. It's also fan-funded. We could not do this without you. So we appreciate your support. But that is going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.